I played a game, 2 games that jump out. One, I played Buffalo in Philadelphia one year, 1993. I think it was like 28 below zero.
Wow.
That was cold. That got to me, that one.
Were you trying to be a tough guy and go sleeveless?
Yeah.
Like you did?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I went sleeveless.
I mean, did you get
I never
frostbite?
put sleeves on in any game.
Frostbite at all? Like that's.
I remember talking to Andy Reid's wife. He got frostbite in that game up against the Dolphins a couple of years ago in Kansas City. He did get frostbite. Now he does. Now if it gets that cold, he's got some other thing that he does. But I didn't get frostbite. But I've gotten frostbite when I lived in Minnesota when I was a kid playing hockey. But yeah. But you know, I didn't get frostbite that day. But I remember it took a while. It took a while after that game to like get warmed up again.
Hey, a couple things before we get into the games this weekend. Something that we talked a lot about earlier in the week was Ben Johnson's antics after the game. I'm wondering your perspective as an ex-player about the handshake and then the locker room saying F the Packers.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not the classiest move for sure. There is actually, you know, there's a 100-year rivalry between the Bears and Packers. And, you know, I mean, that's kind of what Bear coaches are expected to kind of say about the Packers. Fans like that stuff. I like a little bit more sportsmanship in sports, personally.
Yeah. Right.
I like a handshake. You know, I mean, I don't care who I played against. There was a couple guys that probably wouldn't have shook their hands, but just less than a handful. I always thought that at the end of the day, 3 hours, all right, you battled pretty good. I always, you know, if I found that guy down out of midfield, I want to look him in the eye and tell him that was great. Let's do it again. You know, I don't know. There was something about competing, and then when the competition is over, being able to say, you know, that was pretty spirited. That was fun out there today. You know, there's no guarantees in any of this business. I kind of like a little bit more sportsmanship.
All right, so Baldy, a question that we asked today. So John Harbaugh is likely to become the new head coach of the Giants. They're trying to finalize a deal. And we're based here in Washington, and we're wondering, you know, that's a team that's gone 7-27 the last 2 seasons. But did they leapfrog Washington and become more of a contender in the NFC East with John Harbaugh running the show in New York?
Oh, there's no doubt. No question. I've known John since he was special teams coach in Philadelphia when he came with Andy Reid in 25 years ago. And, you know, I mean, he can be very prickly. I mean, he's a Harbaugh. But I've maintained a good relationship with John. He's a great coach. He really is. Now, you could say, you know, Steve Bisciotti, after, 18 years, had enough, and he gets that right to do it. And maybe they'll replace John with a new guy. But I think for the Giants, where they're at right now, they need a guy that knows how to put a program together, knows how to get the most out of his players, knows how to practice. He's going to be hard on the guys. He's going to add discipline to the program. They're going to have a chance to compete this year.
Who would you rather have? All right, it's a very simple question. Dart, Neighbors, Scattaboo, or Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, and I'm just going to throw in Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt.
That's a good one. Wow. I mean, I love Jaden, so I'd have to probably lean towards Jaden, but I love Neighbors and Scattaboo, and I love Jackson Dart. Mm-hmm. So that's a hard question. I don't know if there's an easy answer.
Their collective is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no question. There's no question. I mean, one group has been largely healthy, but I'll say, gosh,
you're leaning Jaden. I get it.
I am just because of just what he did. I mean, last year at this time, they were going to Detroit and put up 45 points on Detroit,
right?
A team that won 15 games. So I know he was banged up this year, but I'd lean towards Jaden right now, just because of what he has accomplished.
Gotcha.
Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side. Baldy, do you see Brian Flores from the Vikings landing a head coaching gig this cycle? Still 8 more openings available, or is the fact that he still has a pending lawsuit against the NFL and at least one team, is that something that's owners are going to be like, we love him as a defensive coordinator, but I don't want that guy as our head coach? What do you see happening there?
It just takes one team. It just takes one team that says, because he is a great defensive coordinator. I don't think the lawsuit that's hanging out there is going to affect the team if the team really covets him. You don't need to have interest in all 8 teams. You just have to have interest in one. And I don't think it's a great cycle for coaches. I think, some of these guys really need a second. I mean, Belichick got a second chance and made the best of it. Mike Shanahan got a second chance after being with the Raiders and made the best of it. Pete Carroll got a second chance, after being with the Jets and made the best of it. So I believe in second chances for a lot of these coaches. And I think Brian Flores will learn a lot from what happened in Miami. And although there is a lawsuit that probably, the NFL wishes would go away, but I think he could certainly be one of the 8 guys that are going to get jobs here down the stretch.
So, Baldy, out of all of the games this weekend, the 4 this weekend, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday, what team do you feel strongest about or most confident about just winning outright? My pick was, we threw this question out a couple days ago. My pick was the Seahawks.
I feel best about the Seahawks too, just because of what they just did to San Francisco. They've beaten them twice. They beat them week 1, beat week 18. They kept them out of the end zone. We know the offense is really good in San Francisco. They kept them out of the end zone. They get a week's rest. San Francisco, they lose George Kittle. I know they overcame it in Philadelphia. And I know Jay Tongas has been really good for them. I feel like Seattle, just because I don't know if anybody can go into Seattle and beat them right now, just the way that they're playing. So, and the fact that San Francisco just went there and they completely shut down Christian McCaffrey in that game. He had 14 touches. He gained a total of 57 yards. I'll say Seattle. I feel best about right now.
Do you think Josh Allen can take the Bills on the road and beat a 14-win Denver team in Denver? Weather should not be a factor. It looks like the high temp there at game time, 41 degrees. Not that Buffalo would really be affected by bad weather anyway. Do you think Josh Allen and company can go in and take care of the Broncos?
Man, a lot of injuries at receiver.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I don't even know who's healthy. I think they have 3 that are listed as healthy. Who knows? I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough to go into Denver. They've got 2 weeks to get ready. That's Sean Payton on the other side. He's built to coach these kind of games. They're healthy. I'll say that they don't. I mean, as good as Josh is, and as much as he can will a team like he did a week ago, I don't think they have enough to go into Denver and win.
Yeah, and man, Josh was beat up. I mean, 3.
Yeah, but I think that he's still. Yeah, and I know he was, but. Yeah. I still think there's enough there where he, if he's down the goal line, he can just, basically push his team across the goal line, score a touchdown. And I think he can still get away from Nick Bonito when he has to in order to make a throw. But overall, I feel like Denver's just healthier, more rested, and I think they have a defense that's going to challenge a lot of people in this postseason.
What were you more surprised at, Harbaugh getting let go or Tomlin stepping down for at least a year?
I guess it was Tomlin stepping down. I don't think anybody saw that. There was rumblings, obviously, in Pittsburgh over the last few years about not winning playoff games and, that maybe it was time for a change. But I didn't see Mike initiating it like he did, where, he's addressing the entire organization in a team meeting and making that announcement. I think just texting with some guys that were in that meeting, they were all caught off guard. And nobody felt like that was coming. And so I felt like, I know Steve Bisciotti pretty good. I feel like that was a move. I mean, he obviously fired him in his car, so, like it was, and he said that even if he'd, beaten Pittsburgh, he would have delayed the firing by a week. So they'd already made up their mind. And I didn't know that either. I mean, I don't pretend like I had that information, but I felt like Tomlin stepping down when he did caught everybody by surprise.
Talking to Brian Baldinger, Odyssey NFL Insider. We know that you had kind of this relationship with Caleb Williams, or at least you've talked to him a few times. What's the likelihood they win this game at home against the Rams? You look at Stafford's numbers in the extreme cold, they're not great, but last year they were knocking on the door to beat the Eagles in the snow. So how do you see that game playing out?
I think it's going to be very similar to some of these other games Chicago's played. I mean, I don't think anybody fears the Rams' defense right now. In 4 of the last 7 games, they've given up 31 or more points. There was a point probably around Thanksgiving where they were as good as any defensive football, and they people have started attacking their corners. They're rotating corners, trying to get the best combination out there right now. I think that's exactly where Chicago can attack them. Now, the Rams' defensive line is very, very good. They're very talented. They got to block those guys up pretty good. But we've seen Caleb being able to get away from the best of them right now. I think this is going to be a shootout. This is going to be a fun game. I know it's going to be bitterly cold in Chicago, and maybe that affects some things, the way you throw, catch, whatever, and maybe affects how they handle a football. I don't know what the winds are going to be like, but that could be a real problem. But I feel like this is a game where both teams' defense are a liability right now, the way that they're playing. And so I feel like this is going to be a game that Caleb can certainly win it. I don't know they could put up 25 points in the fourth quarter to win it, but I feel like the Chicago has a real good chance because the way that they can throw the football and run it, and the way that their offense is. Ben Johnson, just the stuff that he does, nobody else does in this whole league. And I do think it helps. It's not just to be different. I mean, I saw 11 different guys line up in a backfield for the Bears on Sunday. I didn't think that was possible.
What was the stat you threw out on Stafford's record in sub-freezing? 1-8?
I think it was 1-9.
1-9 in sub-freezing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sub-freezing temperatures.
Well, I don't know if
but his numbers have been better the last couple of years, even if they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, in Philadelphia last year, I don't know if I was sub-freezing. I know it was snowing like crazy in the second half of the game. It didn't look like he was affected. I mean, they were down the 11-yard line with a chance to go win the game when Jalen Carter sacked him. But, that was overcoming a fumble and some other things. He looked like he threw the ball. The throw to Puka, I still can see it on the sideline, was crazy catch, crazy good throw that got him down there. So, look, that stat will be on TV, to start the game for sure. We're all going to see it and be reminded by it, and then it's up to Matt Stafford to kind of prove that that's just, that was back when I was in Detroit and we weren't very good and we were going to Green Bay and losing a lot of games up there.
Yeah, I saw somebody comment on Caleb Williams, completion percentage and his results, right? His completion percentage is low, but he's low interception guy and is obviously making big plays, and he's got these comeback wins and has been great in the fourth quarter and all that sort of thing. And the person was saying, well, maybe he's kind of changing the way you look at a quarterback, like Steph Curry changed the way you looked at shooting in the NBA, where shooting percentage became less important if you're shooting all of these threes. What's your perspective on Caleb? Because he does miss bunnies at times, but they're making, big plays down the stretch of games. That's
true. And so he's making these throws when it counts. I mean, the throw to Rome Odunze on 4th and 8 is, it's just going to be an iconic throw. If they do anything here in the postseason, they're going to come back and replay that thing over and over and over. It's an unbelievable throw. Isaiah McDuffie is literally got him by the legs when he's got to jump to throw it. Couple things. One, he started 35 straight games. So, okay, that counts for a lot. I mean, he is their quarterback every single Sunday or Monday, whenever they play.
Right.
I know it's 59% completion percentage, which is, Drake May's at 72%. That's a huge difference.
Right.
Two guys that came in the league together. But I feel like Caleb literally has ice water in his veins. I mean, do they have 6 or do they have 9 fourth quarter comeback wins just this year? I mean, there's something about when everything's on the line and you got to make one throw. The throw to Ja'Day Walker to tie the game up against Green Bay when they were down 16-6 with 4 minutes to go. It's an amazing throw. And then the throws that he makes on the run, escaping pressure. He's going to have a kid at the University of British Columbia playing left tackle, Theo Benedict, on Sunday against Jared Verse, last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Right.
There's going to be pressure on him, and his ability to avoid pressure, make throws, crazy throws, off balance, on the dead run. Not many guys can do some of the things that he does while starting every single game.
So you're leaning Seahawks, you're leaning Broncos, you're 50-50 on the Rams-Bears. Speaking of Drake May, should May Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel be very concerned over the pass rush in Houston?
Well, not just the pass rush, just the defense in general.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their secondary right now, their starting secondary, they just got another, Bullock just got another interception. They've got 17 interceptions on the 4 starting secondary guys. That's more than almost every team in this league right now. That's just the secondary.
Yeah, Lassiter and Stingley are studs.
They're studs.
Yeah.
They both tackle. They're both physical. Both of them can come up and be the force in the run game, and they don't miss. The 2 linebackers right now, Alshire and Toto, like those guys are incredibly. You don't know if they're run blitzing or if they just read that quickly. And then nobody really pays attention to Danico Autry, but everywhere that guy goes, that whether it's the Raiders or Tennessee, and now where he's at here with Houston, that guy's a great pass rusher. And Derek Barnett was he was a 13th pick in the draft. He's a backup defensive end. Like they've got 6 or 7 guys that are legit. Sheldon Rankins scores a touchdown the other day, and it's not just Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. I mean, they've got all kinds of guys that can win.
Yeah.
And so up front, and then just the way that they do it, they almost are brazen in how they do it. They don't try to fool you at all. They just line up and they just play. Like they don't really play a lot of coverages. They don't show you a lot of different looks. They don't have a lot of adjustments. They just feel like they've got great talent and they play well together and they don't break down in the back end and they all tackle and they just kind of come out and play. And when Will Anderson needs a blow, Derek Barnett comes in for him and they just go to the next guy. And they're something to watch. I've charted it now. They're 6-0 in their last 6 road games, and they're giving up an average of 12 points a game in those 6 games. Now, none of them are the Patriots. Patriots are a great defense, too. They're a very talented offense as well. But, their track record on the road, when the old cliche defense travels, it does truly travel for them.
Baldy, thanks as always. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll talk to you next week, okay?
Likewise, guys. You got it, man.
Right.
Enjoy
Thank
it.
you, buddy.
Yep, that was Brian Baldinger, Odyssey NFL Insider.
Make some good points about Houston.
Yep. Host of the Best Football Show podcast. Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side. Don't forget, coming up at 8, Chapey's got a life announcement. You don't want to miss that. It's coming up at 8 o'clock here on the Junks.